All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at a very interesting little bot. This is BotBots Series 6 Pew 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 from the Gamer Geeks. The Gamer Geeks is a new team that was added in Series 6, and it's basically meant to be kind of like geek culture stuff. So there's like some video game guys in there, some Dungeons and Dragons guys, and this guy who's is really meant to be not, he doesn't turn into a little gun, he turns into a little toy gun. So you could potentially have him be a part of the Playroom Posse. I think he'd also fit in there. But I think that they're really meaning for him to be sort of like, a collector's toy. Like this is sort of meant to be kind of a facsimile of Generation 1 Megatron, which is kind of interesting because like as BotBots go, you don't really tend to see that many references to like the grander, like Transformers universe. Like really they're kind of just meant to be their own thing, and the only thing they really share in common with like Generation 1 Transformers is that they transform, but other than that all the characters are usually the same, are usually different, like they're their own thing. But this guy has more references than usual to G1, which we'll get into. But usually all you'll really see is like 1984 written on something, like a Fitness Monster from Series 1, the little sports watch had the time as 1984, ignoring the fact that there aren't 84 minutes in an hour, so that doesn't make any sense even if it's in military time. Or like some of them will have like Autobot logos sculpted on them or just tampoed on them, but this guy's got a bit more going on, which we'll get into. First of which is, if you look at the side here, it's kind of hard to get it on camera. There you go. It's pretty subtle, but actually sculpted into the mold here, we have the little curly cues that G1 Megatron had, which I think is a really nice little detail. Again, it's very subtle, like it's even kind of hard to see in person, let alone on camera, but it's there, and I think that's a really neat little detail. And then other than that, just like turning into the little handgun with the scope there, I think it really is meant to reference G1 Megatron, especially with some stuff that we'll get into in robot mode. Yeah, it's got this side here with the silver, which I really think is more meant for robot mode detail. I think this is the side you're supposed to look at it from in blaster mode. But yeah, otherwise, it's a pretty good little blaster. It's not perfect. Like it's got this little section here, which is kind of ugly in that it just like has a huge hole in the barrel there because of how this transforms. And then the other thing I really don't like about this mode is it's got this little blast effect, which I think looks really good in there. But the way that it's tabbed in is you're supposed to peg it in between these two sections that are like on these long ball joint stocks that make the hole for it to peg into by sandwiching them together. And like, of course, that doesn't really work. Now, I have found that like if you get it in there and then you kind of like squeeze these sections together, you can kind of trick the plastic into thinking it's got a good grip on it. Like it actually, since it's such a small, light part, it stays pretty okay, actually. I think it's more just like attached to one side rather than the other. You can see it's attached to the bottom side this time. But it stays okay. But if you're like taking this guy and putting him in like a bin of BotBots, then there's just no way that's not going to fall off and then get lost, and then you're gonna have to hunt down, dig down for it, and it's kind of annoying. I wish it's more solidly tabbed in, and it's kind of a weird choice to make it work that way. But other than that, I like the little gun mode. I like that he's got the little sculpted grip here, the little sculpted trigger, and I love that G1 Megatron detailing there. But yeah, to transform this guy, first thing you want to do is take off the little blast effect. And then what's kind of strange is like you pull these sections out to become the arms, and if you pull this one out, then it kind of goes out further than you want it to, and then if you pull the other side out, it pulls the other arm back in. And if you start the other way and pull this side out, and then you pull this one out, it kind of pulls that arm back in. So the way that I do it is like the first way is like just pull this all the way out and then pull this in so that they are actually, in the middle. But that's kind of weird the way that works. Then you want to take the little barrel here. These sections, like I said, are on ball joints. So you just want to kind of slightly rotate them and then rotate them out to the side a little bit to kind of become little feet. And then this little section of the barrel also hinges open a little bit just to give them a slightly, a slightly more splayed stance there in the legs. And then you take this little silver panel right here and just flip it around, revealing his face. And there you have Pew 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 in his robot mode. Now you can take the little blast effect here, and he basically holds it as like a little weapon of some sort, a little sword, I guess, and that's okay. I sort of wish there was another place to put it. What I really wish is, and it seems like kind of a no-brainer to me, is like, why didn't they put a little hole like in the scope for the so that he's got the little Megatron fusion cannon arm so that he could actually use the blast effect like coming out of the scope. I think that would look really cool, and it just seems kind of baffling to me that they didn't do that, but whatever. I sort of wish there was another place to put it aside from having to have him hold it, but I do like the little splash of color that it adds. But yeah, this guy does some pretty interesting stuff in his robot mode, because like I said, BotBots tend to just have their own little designs, but this guy has some G1 references in him. Like if you look at the chest detailing here, it's very, very clearly based on G1 Megatron, which I think is a really cool little detail there. And the face is Kremzik from the G1 cartoon, the little electricity energy being that caused all sorts of havoc. I think that's really neat. Again, like I prefer generally that BotBots just do their own thing and don't have everything be a little reference to G1, but to have one of them do it, I think it's kind of neat, especially when it's like, oh yeah, this character literally turns into like a transformer, kind of like he turns into G1 Megatron. You could interpret it that way. So I think it's neat to have those little references there. But yeah, otherwise, I really like his little his robot mode. The legs are kind of awkward, and he sort of has these like weird kind of like clown shoes, but whatever. Articulation wise, the arms are both on swivels, so they can rotate up and down. The legs can, of course, hinge closed like that, and then these bits are in ball joints, so they can kind of rotate around, though you're not really getting a ton out of that. I've seen some pictures of him where he's like standing up like that, and I think that just looks worse, but you could do that. I definitely prefer this, and he's a lot more stable that way too. But yeah, pretty cute. I'd say in terms of rating this guy, robot mode for me, I think I'm gonna give him a full 5 out of 5. He's not like I wouldn't want the entire BotBots brand to kind of go through this vibe of doing little G1 references, but if it's just him, I like the references. I think it's a really cool little idea. I love the little sculpted Megatron chest. I love the little Kremzik face. And even if I wish that this went in the actual barrel of the fusion cannon, I guess you could call it. I don't know if it is a fusion, it is a fusion cannon on Megatron, but I don't know if it is on him. Whatever. I wish that the little blast effect went in there, but I kind of like him holding it as a little sword. Feels like a strong word, little thing too. That it's a nice little detail. But yeah, and then alt mode, I think I'm gonna give a 4 out of 5. It's good. It is. I do like it, but there's a couple things about it I don't like. I don't like that the little gap in the barrel there. I think that's pretty ugly, and I don't like that the blast effect doesn't really stay in. Like that's kind of the biggest flaw of this guy to me. But otherwise, it's got a lot of really nice detail on there, especially the little curly cues. So both of them is like, yeah, I'm still pretty favorable on both modes, but there's some dicey stuff about each of them. And then transformation, I think, is normal, average, so 3 out of 5, which is going to give Pew 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 here an ultimate score of 12 out of 15. Is that right? Yes, 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Yes, 12 out of 15, which makes him a 4-star BotBot. So yeah, no, another pretty good one. Again, some weird choices going on in Series 6 so far, but I think these two guys are definitely the winners of the sets. If you want to pick this guy up, he does come in the out of controller set, but he is not actually exclusive to that set. He also comes in, I believe it's a 5-pack. The Gamer Geeks ones, the Gamer Geeks are the 5-pack ones. I think the Gamer Geeks and the Hunger Hubs are the ones that come in 5-packs, and then the Pet Mob and the Custodial Crew are the 8-pack ones. And what they're actually doing in Series 6, as opposed to the other series of BotBots, is if you buy like a Gamer Geek set, it actually is like all Gamer Geeks BotBots, or at least the main 4, and then the hidden one is usually one of those like grease strip guys, or one of the oil slick guys rather. Grease strip is one of them. So there's 2 different Gamer Geeks packs, and he comes in one of them. And I don't think you can get him in the 1-packs. I think it's just the 5-pack and the out of controller set. But still, it's nice to have options there, because I would have assumed honestly that he would have been one of the exclusive ones to the out of controller set. But no, he is the one out of the four of them that you can get elsewhere. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. If you enjoy my videos, I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers BotBots Series 6, if I can get this to stay in, Pew Pew Pew.